Puerto Rican government said Thursday more than 1,400 people died in the aftermath of Hurricanes Maria and Irma. The original estimated death toll was 64. In a report to Congress, the island also outlined a recovery plan and said there was about $33 billion in damage to the U.S. territory. David Begnaud is back in Puerto Rico, seeing how the island has recovered over the last year.
The death toll in Puerto Rico following Hurricane Maria may be 20 times higher than the government's last official toll of 64. Puerto Rican officials acknowledged in a report to Congress that their own data reveals that there were more than 1,400 deaths in the 4 months after the hurricane than normal.
David, we've always said that the amount was going to be higher.
Hector Pesquera is Puerto Rico's Secretary of Public Safety.
How do you get past the fact that a lot of people watching right now think that the government has lied about the death toll from the beginning?
All I can say is that there is no lie, there is no misleading. Always we said that it most likely will go up.
Hurricane Maria tore through Puerto Rico last September, becoming the second deadliest hurricane in the last 90 years. Puerto Rico's Governor Ricardo Rosselló has faced criticism that his administration severely undercounted the number of Hurricane Maria-related deaths. I asked the governor last week about the official death toll.
People say it's the official count. It's just really the count that
it's where the count stopped.
It's where it stopped when we realized that it wasn't appropriate.
Another growing issue on the island, the morgue has run out of space to store unidentified bodies. It's been a problem for the last several years, but now refrigerated trucks have been brought in to store corpses. Nearly 150 bodies are still unidentified and awaiting autopsy. Officials say a lack of money and a lack of resources are to blame for the growing backlog. And only recently did Puerto Rico's governor ask federal authorities for help.
And David Begnaud joins us now from the Puerto Rican capital of San Juan. It's been your second home for much of the last year, David. And I know people understood this number of 64 had to be low, but it's such a dramatic change. Did this come as a surprise?
Look, the government always said we expect it is going to be higher, but they just wouldn't give out another number. So my question to one official was, what took you guys so long to acknowledge what was seemingly so obvious? Remember, this is based on their own mortality data that journalists had to sue to get. But at any rate, it's based on their own data, and this official told me, David, it's big news because we are terrible at communicating. And that is coming from a government official who is directly involved with everything that has been the back and forths with the death toll. Is it a surprise? No. To no one. I mean, you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who thinks it's a surprise. The real surprise, though, could come when the George Washington University study comes out, right? That's the study that the government paid $300,000, commissioning it from George Washington University in D.C. My sources tell me the report will be out by the end of this month.
What does Puerto Rico need most right now?
Resources, starting with the place where we are. We're at the Forensic Sciences Center. They let us in the back part of the lot. This area right here, these 4 trailers are all housing bodies, many of which are decomposing. These are people who have been here, in some cases, for 3 years, and are in the back of those 18-wheelers because there's not enough room inside, and because they don't even know who they are. So here's what the government is doing. Based on a request from the governor of Puerto Rico, which, by the way, it's unclear what took so long to make this request, but the governor a couple of weeks ago asked the United States federal government to send some help. So they have. They're sending pathologists and radiologists who can perform the autopsies and make the identifications of these bodies and then process them for cremation. Brooke, the government didn't even have the money to cremate these people, right? So even if they did know who they were and they had autopsied them, they didn't even have the money to cremate them. Now, there's another added layer of an issue. Some families are not coming back to claim their loved ones. Some family members know their loved ones are here, and they're not coming to pick them up for a myriad of reasons. Look, the power grid is fragile. You've got darn near half the majority of the island, which is unemployed or looking for employment. You've got people who have left the island. It's a gumbo, as we say in Louisiana, of problems that even the governor's detractors think he's doing his best to try and fix, but this can't be fixed overnight, in a month, or quite frankly, over a period of 1 year, because these problems have built up for decades.
We're coming up on the height of hurricane season. Is Puerto Rico better prepared than a year ago? Worse prepared? About the same?
Good question. So I asked the governor that while we were here working on our documentary that airs in September, and he said to me, no, I don't think we are as prepared as we need to be. However, here's what FEMA has said. We're better prepared at our warehouses, right? Puerto Rico has proven that they need a lot of help when it comes from requesting it from the federal government. So the feds have said, look, we're not as used to being as involved in direct response when it comes to the states on the mainland, but Puerto Rico needs it. So at the facility here where they house all their supplies, it is full to the ceiling. They are ready, right? When Hurricane Maria hit, there wasn't even a single cot in a warehouse, not even one. Now, that's because Hurricane Irma just hit in the U.S. Virgin Islands and taken some of the resources, but FEMA says we're prepared. The government's doing everything they can. That's what they tell us. Are they ready? I don't know. I don't know if I can give you a straight answer on that.
Okay, David Begnaud, thanks again for keeping this story top of mind.
You bet.
And you can catch the new CBSN Originals documentary on Puerto Rico from David and his CBS News colleague Adam Yamaguchi in September.